I've often heard that the most pressing issue of our times is the environment, protecting the environment and making sure that future generations will have acceptable living conditions. Or another suggestion is that the most pressing issue of our times is the economy, fixing the economy. Both of that is wrong. The most pressing issue of our times is narrative. Narrative is the thing that makes circumstances bearable for us human beings. If human beings feel like they have a narrative that situates them in the world, helps them make sense of it, and helps them see purpose behind what they're doing, helps them see a point behind what they're doing, they are willing to put up with immense struggle. They are willing to put up with environmental pollution. They are willing to put up with economic scarcity. They are willing to hunger. Sometimes even they are willing to give up their lives for the sake of narrative. Human beings are weird, but the degree to which they are resilient is basically determined not by their physiological features, but by the degree to which they feel embedded in a narrative that gives them purpose. And this is true in the other way as well. If human beings lack a narrative that provides them with purpose, they can have the best living conditions imaginable. They can have all the resources in the world available, all the opportunities in the world. They won't pick them up. And they will face severe forms of pain, of psychological pain and suffering, instead of prospering, flourishing, and developing, even to the degree that they might choose not to exist anymore. This is very difficult to understand. I personally have no idea why this is so. I don't think animals are like that. I think with animals, their degree of resilience towards their environment is pretty much mostly biological, I guess. It really depends on the organism's features, whether they are going to make it in a certain environment or not. With human beings, this is something that Viktor Frankl wrote about. The strongest determining factor for whether you will make it in times of suffering is whether you have a narrative that can provide you with a sense of hope and a vision for a future to come. If you lack that, the environmental challenges might even be not that big and you will still fail. And this is, I think, the most pressing issues of our present day times. We have to figure out ways of bringing our narratives together, because narratives are not only the source for resilience, they are also the source for hostility, and particularly for strategic hostility. I don't think you find anything resembling the strategic hostility that human beings have towards each other among animals. Animals might react to each other and destroy each other impulsively, but I don't think they do it in a strategic manner as human beings do, with the kind of hatred that human beings are capable of experiencing. So it kind of goes together. If you want to be resilient, if you want to be a being that is capable of existing even in times of severe environmental pollution, in times of severe economic struggle, you need to have a narrative, you need to have hope. This, however, goes together with fear of losing that. This goes together with having a sense for someone being your enemy, someone who might take away that narrative through you. And particularly if it's just the existence of other narratives that already threaten your own self-identity and your own resilience, we have a problem. Since the moment those narratives don't overlap and are mutually exclusive, human beings will feel like they have to mutually exclude each other. And I'm putting human beings at the center of it all because I believe that if you don't get this right first, if we don't get social cohesion right first, it really doesn't matter. Anything else that follows will be outside the hands of any conscious agent. So whatever happens with the world, however it develops ecologically, will not be in the hands of a conscious agent, someone who actually makes decisions about it and could turn it into a better future. The precondition for us even being able to care about the environment is to get along with each other on the narrative level, to be able to make place, to integrate the narratives that are surrounding us without experiencing them as an existential threat. If we can't figure that out, if our meta-narratives, so to speak, are not big enough as to encompass the variously existing narratives that are already out there and providing people with hope, with purpose, and with a sense of who they are, if we can't find meta-narratives that are capable of bridging these diverse identities and navigating them and coordinating them in meaningful ways so that they can coexist, everything else is just not in our hands anymore. There won't be an ability to decide, there won't be a human species to actually take care of an environment and make sure that future generations have the same possibilities as we have. And I don't see anybody talking about that. I see people focusing on specific challenges, on specific ideas that supposedly have to be pushed, and insisting how they are super important. But the precondition for all that, again, is social cohesion. And social cohesion is the coordination of diverse identities into one, where they don't experience that which makes you you, and that which gives you all the resilience that you have, excluding itself with the identity of somebody else. Because this is the natural state. The natural state, if you want, of the human condition is that our individual resiliences and identities are mutually exclusive as long as the narratives that are driving us and motivating us are mutually exclusive. That's the big challenge of our times. Coming up with meta-narratives that are broad enough to allow space for all of the existing motivational forces out there. And of course, only under the condition that all of those have to be adapted. They have to be, as everything else in evolution, you have to learn, you have to make changes, incremental changes, and adapt to circumstances. If ideologies and narratives are incapable of adapting to that, we pretty much know what will happen. We don't need to discuss that. We know the consequences of an ideology being incapable of adapting.